Chapter 1. Chapter 1. The Arrival. In the previous chapter, the five friends Brad, Mary Kate, Caitlin, Ashley, and Paige had braved the turbulent journey through the cosmos, their hearts racing with anticipation and trepidation. They had left behind the familiar comforts of Earth, trading them for the unknown promise of Nova Terra, a newly established colony orbiting a distant exoplanet. As the ship's engines hummed their final notes, the friends exchanged nervous glances, each grappling with their own hopes and fears about what awaited them in this uncharted frontier. Now, as the hatch of the spacecraft hissed open, a rush of cool, sterile air enveloped them, carrying with it the faint scent of metal and something else. Something almost electric. The friends stepped onto the metallic platform of Nova Terra, their boots clanging against the surface, echoing in the vastness of the docking bay. The sight before them was breathtaking. A sprawling vista of shimmering biodomes, each one a vibrant green against the backdrop of the star-speckled void. Yet, despite the technological marvel surrounding them, an unsettling silence hung in the air, a whisper of something amiss. "Welcome to Nova Terra," Brad exclaimed, his voice breaking the stillness. He spread his arms wide, a grin plastered across his face, but even he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. "Can you believe we're actually here?" Mary Kate stepped forward, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's incredible," she breathed, taking in the sight of the biodomes, their glassy surfaces reflecting the distant stars. "But, where is everyone?" Caitlin, always the practical one, frowned. "Maybe they're just busy with the setup. I mean, this place is still new. It's not like they can just flip a switch and have everything ready." Ashley, who had been scanning the area with a furrowed brow, chimed in, "Or maybe they didn't expect us to arrive so soon. I heard the colony was still in its early stages. It's possible they're still working out the kinks." Paige, lingering at the back, felt a chill creep up her spine. "Or maybe they're hiding something," she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. The others turned to her, eyebrows raised. "What? You don't think it is strange that we're the only ones here?" "Let's not jump to conclusions," Brad said, trying to keep the mood light. "We'll find someone. Come on, let's explore." With a mix of excitement and unease, the group ventured deeper into the colony. The air was crisp and cool, the artificial gravity a gentle embrace that made them feel weightless. As they walked, the biodomes loomed overhead, their translucent walls revealing lush greenery and vibrant flowers, a stark contrast to the cold metal of their arrival. "Look at that one." Caitlin pointed to a dome filled with exotic plants, their colors more vivid than anything she had seen on Earth. "I can't believe they managed to bring all this life here." "Yeah, but it is almost too perfect," Ashley replied, her voice tinged with skepticism. "Like a postcard. Where are the people who are supposed to take care of it?" They wandered through the colony, their footsteps echoing in the empty corridors. The silence was palpable, broken only by the soft hum of machinery and the distant whir of automated systems. As they passed through a series of interconnected domes, the friends began to feel the weight of isolation pressing down on them. "Let's check out that one over there," Brad suggested, pointing to a dome that seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly glow. As they approached, the air grew thicker, charged with an unexplainable energy that sent shivers down Paige's spine. Inside, the dome was unlike the others. It was filled with strange symbols etched into the walls, glowing faintly in hues of blue and green. Artifacts lay scattered across the floor. Curious objects that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. The atmosphere was thick with mystery, and the friends exchanged glances, their earlier excitement replaced by a sense of foreboding. "What do you think this place is?" Mary Kate asked, her voice barely above a whisper as she traced her fingers over one of the symbols. It felt warm to the touch, as if it were alive. "I don't know," Caitlin replied, her brow furrowed in concentration. But it looks ancient. Like, like it was here long before we arrived. Or maybe it is a warning, Paige interjected, her heart racing. What if this place isn't what it seems? Come on, don't start with that, Brad said, trying to lighten the mood. It's probably just some old research facility. They've been studying this planet for years. There's bound to be some weird stuff. Ashley knelt beside an artifact that resembled a small, intricately carved stone. We should take some of this back with us, she said, her eyes gleaming with curiosity. It could be worth something. Or at least it'll make for a great story. Or it could get us in trouble, Caitlin warned, glancing around as if expecting someone to appear. We don't know what any of this means. Paige felt a knot tighten in her stomach. Maybe we should just leave it alone. I don't like the vibe in here. Don't be such a buzzkill, Paige, Brad said, rolling his eyes. We're explorers. This is what we came for. As they continued to examine the chamber, the tension in the air thickened. The symbols seemed to shift and dance in the dim light, and Paige couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She glanced over her shoulder, half expecting to see someone lurking in the shadows, but the dome remained empty. Guys, I really think we should go, she insisted, her voice rising slightly. This place gives me the creeps. Just a few more minutes, Ashley urged, her curiosity piqued. We can't leave without at least trying to figure out what this is. Brad nodded in agreement. Let's take some pictures and document everything. We'll come back later with more people. As they began to snap photos, Caitlin's gaze fell upon a larger symbol at the far end of the chamber. It was unlike the others, a swirling pattern that seemed to pulse with energy. Drawn to it, she stepped closer, her heart racing with a mix of fear and fascination. Caitlin, wait! Mary Kate called out, but it was too late. As Caitlin reached out to touch the symbol, a surge of energy coursed through the air, and the chamber erupted with a blinding light. The friends shielded their eyes, stumbling back as the light enveloped them. A deafening roar filled the air, drowning out their screams. In that moment, time seemed to stretch and warp, and Paige felt herself being pulled into the light, her body weightless as if she were floating in the void of space. Chapter 2. Chapter 2. The Disappearance. The air was thick with anticipation as the five friends stood at the edge of the biodome, the vibrant colors of the alien flora casting an otherworldly glow on their faces. Just hours before, they had marveled at the wonders of Nova Terra, a space colony that promised a new beginning. But now, the thrill of discovery had morphed into a gnawing unease. Caitlin, the most adventurous of the group, had wandered off during their exploration of the outskirts, her laughter fading into the distance like a haunting echo. Where is she? Brad's voice broke the silence, his brow furrowed with concern. The group had been captivated by the hidden chamber filled with strange symbols, but now that excitement felt like a distant memory. Mary Kate glanced around, her heart racing. She wouldn't just leave us. She knows better than that. Maybe she found something, Ashley suggested, her voice trembling slightly. You know how she gets when she's curious. Paige, usually the voice of reason, looked pale. We should go find her. Now. With a collective nod, they set off, the vibrant colors of the biodome fading behind them as they ventured into the unknown. The lush greenery of Nova Terra was beautiful, but it felt suffocating now, as if the very air was charged with a sense of foreboding. Dash dash dash. They split into pairs, taking a different path through the dense underbrush. Brad and Paige moved cautiously, their footsteps muffled by the thick carpet of alien moss beneath them. The sounds of the colony faded, replaced by the rustling of leaves and the occasional chirp of unfamiliar creatures. Do you think she's okay? Paige asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Brad shrugged, trying to mask his own anxiety. Caitlin is tough. She's probably just exploring. But It is not like her to go this far without telling us. Scanning the surroundings. What if she found something dangerous? Let's not jump to conclusions. Though his heart raced at the thought. We'll find her. As they pressed deeper into the thicket, the air grew colder, and an unsettling silence enveloped them. The vibrant colors of the flora seemed to dim, shadows stretching ominously as the sun dipped lower in the sky. Caitlin. Brad called out, his voice echoing through the trees. Caitlin, where are you? No response. Just the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of the colony machinery. Dash dash dash. Meanwhile, Mary Kate and Ashley had taken a different route, their path winding along a narrow stream that glimmered under the fading light. Do you think we should have stayed together? Mary Kate asked, her voice laced with worry. Ashley shook her head, her eyes darting around nervously. We'll cover more ground this way. Besides, Caitlin is probably just Caitlin. Mary Kate chuckled softly, but the humor didn't surprise. Yeah, but what is trouble? Then we'll find her, Ashley said, though her voice wavered. We have to believe she's okay. As they continued along the stream, a flicker of movement caught Mary Kate's eye. She turned, her heart racing as she spotted a flash of light in the distance. Did you see that? Ashley squinted, her brow furrowing. What? Where? There. Over there. Mary Kate pointed, her pulse quickening. They moved closer, the sound of rushing water drowning out their footsteps. As they approached the source of the light, they found themselves standing before a clearing, the trees parting to reveal a small, circular glade bathed in glow. What is this place? She whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Mary Kate stepped forward, her breath hitching in her throat. The ground was covered in strange symbols, similar to those they had seen in the hidden chamber. It looks like some kind of altar. Suddenly, a low hum filled the air, vibrating through the ground beneath their feet. The light intensified, casting eerie shadows that danced around them. Mary Kate, we should, Ashley urged, her voice trembling. But Mary Kate was entranced, her curiosity overpowering her fear. Wait, just a little longer. I want to see what happens. As if in response to her words, the light pulsed, and a figure emerged from the shadows. A tall, slender being with luminescent skin and eyes that glowed like stars. Caitlin. Mary Kate gasped, but the figure was not her friend. It was something else entirely, something otherworldly. Dash dash dash. Back in the thicket, Brad and Paige had stumbled upon a clearing of their own. The air was thick with tension as they surveyed the area, their eyes drawn to a series of footprints away from the path. Do you think these are Caitlin's? Paige asked, kneeling to examine the prints. Brad knelt beside her, his heart sinking. They look like they could be. But they're deeper than I expected. What do you mean? Caitlin is light on her feet. These prints are heavy, like someone or something was dragging her. Paige's breath caught in her throat. We have to follow them. They stood, determination etched on their faces, and they follow the trail. The deeper they went, the more the atmosphere changed. The trees loomed larger, twisting like skeletal fingers against the darkening sky. Brad, do you hear that? Paige whispered, her voice barely audible. He paused, straining to listen. A low, rhythmic thrum resonated in the air, almost like a heartbeat. Yeah, I hear it. It's coming from up ahead. As they moved closer, the thrum grew louder, pulsing in time with their own racing hearts. They emerged into another clearing, and what they saw made their blood run cold. A large, metallic structure stood before them, half buried in the earth, its surface shimmering with an iridescent sheen. Strange symbols adorned its exterior, mirroring those they had seen in the chamber. What is this place? Paige breathed, eyes wide with fear. I don't know, Brad replied, his voice barely above a whisper. But I think we need to get out of here. Before they could turn back, a blinding light erupted from the structure, illuminating the clearing. They shielded their eyes, and when the light faded, they found themselves standing alone in the clearing, the structure now silent and still. Where did it go? Paige asked, panic rising in her voice. I don't know, Brad said, his heart pounding. But we need to find the others. Now. Chapter 3. Chapter 3. The encounter. The air was thick with anxiety as Brad and Ashley pushed through the underbrush, their hearts pounding in sync with the frantic rhythm of their thoughts. Just hours earlier, they had been a group of 5, laughing and exploring the wonders of Nova Terra, but now they were 2, searching for their missing friend, Caitlin. The shadows of the colony loomed behind them, the biodomes glowing eerily in the twilight, casting long fingers of light that danced across the ground. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of machinery, a stark reminder of the isolation they felt. As they stumbled deeper into the dense foliage, Brad's mind raced with possibilities. What if she's hurt? He muttered, his voice barely above a whisper. What if she's... He couldn't finish the thought. The fear of losing Caitlin gnawed at him, a relentless beast that threatened to consume him whole. Ashley, her brow furrowed in concentration, shook her head. We'll find her, Brad. We have to. Her voice was steady, but the tremor in her hands betrayed her. She brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, her eyes scanning the darkening landscape. She wouldn't just wander off. Something must have happened. They pressed on, the underbrush thickening as they approached a clearing. The air shifted, carrying with it a faint metallic scent that made Brad's skin prickle. Do you smell that? He asked, halting in his tracks. Ashley nodded, her expression shifting from determination to unease. Yeah, it's strange. She took a cautious step forward, her instincts urging her to investigate. Let's check it out. As they entered the clearing, the sight before them took their breath away. Half buried in the earth was a sleek, silver craft, its surface glinting under the fading light. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Smooth, almost organic in shape, with intricate patterns etched into its hull that seemed to pulse with a faint luminescence. Brad's heart raced as he approached, the fear of Caitlin momentarily forgotten in the face of this extraordinary discovery. Is this? Ashley's voice trailed off, her eyes wide with wonder and fear. An alien ship. Looks like it, Brad replied, his voice barely above a whisper. He reached out, his fingers brushing against the cool metal. A jolt of energy surged through him, and he stumbled back, wide-eyed. Whoa! Careful! Ashley exclaimed, stepping closer. What if it is dangerous? Before Brad could respond, the ship shuddered, and a low hum filled the air. The ground vibrated beneath their feet, and a panel on the side of the craft slid open with a hiss, revealing a dark interior illuminated by a soft blue glow. A holographic projection flickered to life, casting ethereal light across their faces. Welcome, the hologram intoned, its voice smooth and melodic, yet laced with an underlying urgency. You have awakened the guardians of this world. Heed our warning. Brad and Ashley exchanged a glance, their hearts racing. What does it mean? Ashley whispered, her eyes glued to the hologram. The projection continued, displaying images of a vibrant planet teeming with life, now reduced to desolation. The civilization that once thrived here fell to darkness. An ancient threat lies dormant, waiting to rise again. Your friend, Caitlin, is connected to this fate. Caitlin. Brad echoed, his stomach twisting in knots. What do you mean? The hologram flickered, the images shifting to show a shadowy figure, a silhouette that resembled Caitlin. She is the key. You must find her before it is too late. The message ended abruptly, leaving a heavy silence in its wake. Brad felt a chill creep up his spine. We have to get back to the others, he said, urgency flooding his voice. They need to know what we found. Ashley nodded, her expression a mix of fear and determination. Let's go. As they retraced their steps, the weight of the revelation hung over them like a storm cloud. The shadows of the trees seemed to close in, and every rustle of leaves sent shivers down their spines. They reached the colony just as the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, plunging Nova Terra into darkness. The biodomes glowed like beacons against the night sky, but the warmth of their light felt distant and cold. Brad and Ashley hurried inside, where they found Mary Kate and Paige pacing anxiously, their faces etched with worry. Where have you been? Mary Kate demanded, her voice a mix of relief and frustration. We thought something happened to you. We found something, Brad said, breathless. An alien ship. And a holographic message. It's about Caitlin. What? Paige's eyes widened, her hands clenching into fists. What did it say? Brad exchanged a glance with Ashley, who nodded for him to continue. It warned us about an ancient threat and said Caitlin is somehow connected to it. We have to find her before it is too late. Mary Kate's expression shifted from concern to determination. Then we need to search again. We can't leave her out there. Agreed, Ashley said, her voice steady. But we need a plan. We can't just wander aimlessly. As they gathered around a table, the tension in the room thickened. Brad felt the weight of their fear pressing down on him, but he also felt a flicker of hope. They had uncovered something significant, and they could use it to find Caitlin. Let's split into pairs, he suggested, his mind racing. We can cover more ground that way. Mary Kate, you and Paige take the east side of the colony. Ashley and I will head west. We'll meet back here in an hour. Be careful, Mary Kate warned, her eyes darting to the door. We don't know what's out there. As they prepared to leave, Brad felt a surge of adrenaline. He glanced at Ashley, who met his gaze with a determined nod. They stepped out into the night, the cool air wrapping around them like a shroud. The stars twinkled above, indifferent to the turmoil below. Do you really think Caitlin is connected to whatever that message was about? Ashley asked as they walked, her voice barely above a whisper. I don't know, Brad admitted, his heart heavy with uncertainty. But we have to find her. If there's even a chance that she's in danger. Ashley nodded, her expression resolute. We will find her. Together. They moved through the darkness, the sounds of the colony fading behind them as they ventured into the unknown. The trees loomed like sentinels, their branches swaying gently in the breeze. Brad's mind raced with possibilities, each one darker than the last. What if they were too late? What if Caitlin was already lost to them? Suddenly, a flick. Chapter 4. Chapter 4. The Revelation. The air was thick with tension as Brad, Mary Kate, Ashley, and Paige stood in the shadow of the alien craft, their hearts racing from the revelations of the previous hours. They had unearthed a hidden world beneath the surface of Nova Terra, a world that pulsed with secrets and dangers. Caitlin was missing, and the strange lights flickering in the sky felt like a warning, a prelude to something far more sinister than they had anticipated. The guardians of the planet, with their luminous eyes and ethereal forms, had made their presence known, and the weight of their gaze felt like a judgment. Where is she? Ashley's voice trembled, her eyes darting between the alien figures and the entrance of the craft. We need to find Caitlin. We can't just stand here. Maybe we should listen to them, Brad suggested, his brow furrowed in thought. They might know where she is. Mary Kate shook her head, her dark hair whipping around her face as she stepped closer to the craft. What if they're the reason she's gone? We can't trust them. Paige, standing slightly apart from the group, felt a chill run down her spine. The aliens were beautiful and terrifying, their skin shimmering like starlight, but she couldn't shake the feeling that they were hiding something. We need to figure out what's going on. We can't just assume they're our enemies. As if summoned by their uncertainty, one of the aliens stepped forward, its voice a melodic hum that resonated in the air. Caitlin is not lost. She has transformed, and with this transformation comes knowledge. Knowledge that can save your kind. The words hung in the air, heavy with implications. Brad's heart raced. Transformed. What do you mean? The alien's luminous eyes flickered, and it gestured toward the craft. Come. You must see for yourselves. With a shared glance of trepidation, the group followed the alien into the craft. The interior was a stark contrast to the cold, metallic exterior. It was warm and inviting, filled with soft, pulsating lights that seemed to breathe. The walls were adorned with intricate symbols that glowed faintly, echoing the designs they had seen in the hidden chamber. Where's Caitlin? Ashley demanded, her voice echoing in the silence. Caitlin is here, the alien replied, leading them deeper into the craft. She is one of us now. They entered a large chamber, and at its center stood Caitlin, her figure illuminated by a soft, golden light. She looked different. Her hair shimmered with an otherworldly sheen, and her eyes glowed with an intensity that sent a shiver down Paige's spine. Caitlin. Mary Kate gasped, rushing forward. Wait. Brad called, grabbing her arm. We don't know what's happening. Caitlin turned to them, a serene smile on her face. I'm okay. I'm more than okay. Her voice was calm, but there was an underlying current of something deeper, something that hinted at the vastness of her new existence. What do you mean? Ashley's voice was a mix of relief and confusion. What happened to you? I've been given a gift, Caitlin explained, her gaze sweeping over her friends. The Guardians showed me the history of this planet, the civilization that once thrived here. They need our help, and I can help them. Brad stepped forward, his heart pounding. Help them. Help them do what? Caitlin's expression shifted, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her features. To prevent a catastrophe. The colony was built on the ruins of their world, and the creators of Nova Terra knew what they were doing. They intended to exploit this place, to harness its power without understanding the consequences. What consequences? Paige asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The balance of life here is fragile, Caitlin replied, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. If we don't act, both our worlds will suffer. The Guardians have been waiting for someone to bridge the gap between us, to help restore what was lost. Mary Kate stepped back, her mind racing. And you think we can trust them? They took you, Caitlin. You're not the same person anymore. Caitlin's expression hardened, a flicker of anger igniting in her eyes. I'm still me, Mary Kate. I'm just expanded. I can see things you can't. I can feel the pulse of this planet, the pain it is in. You have to believe me. Brad's heart ached at the sight of his friend, transformed yet still so familiar. What do we do? He asked, his voice steady despite the turmoil inside him. How do we help? Caitlin took a deep breath, her gaze steady. We need to confront the creators of the colony. They're planning something catastrophic, and if we don't stop them, they'll unleash forces they can't control. Confront them. Ashley echoed, her voice rising in disbelief. You mean go back to the surface and face the people who built this place? They'll never listen to us. They will if we show them the truth, Caitlin insisted. The Guardians can help us. They can reveal the history of this planet, the mistakes that were made. We can change their minds. Paige felt a knot of fear tighten in her stomach. And what if they don't listen? What if they see us as a threat? Caitlin stepped closer, her eyes locking onto Paige's. Then we fight. But we have to try first. We owe it to this planet. And to ourselves. The group fell silent, the weight of Caitlin's words settling over them like a shroud. Brad could feel the tension crackling in the air, a mixture of fear and hope. They were standing at a precipice, and the choice they made now would determine the fate of not just their colony, but the very fabric of their existence. Okay, he said finally, his voice firm. We'll do it. We'll confront them. Ashley's eyes widened. Are you sure? What if it goes wrong? We can't just sit here and do nothing, Brad replied, his determination igniting a spark in the others. We owe it to Caitlin, to the Guardians, and to everyone back at the colony. Mary Kate nodded slowly, her expression softening. All right. But we need a plan. We can't just walk in there unprepared. Caitlin smiled, a glimmer of pride in her eyes. I can help with that. I can guide you through the history, show you what they've hidden. Together, we can make them see. As they began to strategize, the atmosphere shifted, the tension morphing into a sense of purpose. They were no longer just a group of friends lost in a strange world. They were a team, united by a common goal.